Welcome to part 2 of this two-part series of interpersonal skills. You recall in part 1 we spoke to you about what interpersonal skills are all about. And I made a commitment to you that in part 2 I'm going to talk to you about how we apply interpersonal skills. So when we look at how we apply interpersonal skills, there are a number of dimensions that we need to look at. But the first part is about ourselves, myself. You see, if I don't have good relationships with myself, how would I have great interpersonal skills with other people? So when we look at myself, or when you look at yourself, can you reflect on how you deal with emotions? Can you gain insight from those emotions into whether your behavior is helpful or harmful to yourself? The second dimension is around how do I interact with other people? Do I pay attention to their emotions? Do I pay attention to the words that I use? Do I pay attention to my body language and my tone of voice when I'm engaging with other people? Do I choose the right time to actually share how I feel? And am I able to clearly articulate without judgment what I feel? You remember from series 1, I spoke to you about managing conflict. So for difficult behavior, can you recognize your emotions and take responsibility for your reactions? Now, I know you are vulnerable when you start to look at these areas, but we often look at how we protect ourselves. And in this space, we need to look at how do I empathize and how do I validate other people's emotions? Within the work and career context, as during meetings and when you're meeting other people, do you take the time to check in as opposed to checking up on people? You see, checking in shows that I care. The whole care model that we spoke about in series 1. Are you able to manage your emotions and don't use it as an excuse for any reactive behavior? Are you able to use your emotions of yourself and others to motivate your team and yourself towards achieving a goal? How about the most forgotten? Our friends and our family. Can you use your empathetic radar to understand their needs of friends and your needs of family? Are you able to manage and control your emotions so that you can effectively deal with the emotions of your friends and family around you? How about in general in our lives? Are you able to look at your emotions and allow your emotions not to color yourself? Are you able to appreciate and accept the full spectrum of the words that you use, your body language, and your emotions? Are you able not to judge them as either being good or bad, but rather as gifts for giving information about yourself and your circumstances? Now, those are the different areas in our lives that I'd like you to think about and reflect on how do I use my personal skills and interpersonal skills. But I want to hone into one area, and that's about interviews. How do I use interpersonal skills to become proficient and effective at interviews? Well, the first thing I'd like to talk to you about is prep. You know, when we're buying a home, we talk about location, location, location. I want to tell you, when you're looking at interviews and when you're going for either a promotion or you're looking for a new job, it's prep, prep, prep. Preparation is one of the most effective things you can do before going for an interview. Also, when we look at the interview, we know that most of us concentrate on how I'm going to share my technical capability with the interviewer. We very seldom focus on our interpersonal skills. Yet, if you think about it, we like to be around people we like. And if you don't concentrate on your interpersonal skills, how do you demonstrate that you are able to connect and form strong relationships and bonds? You see, it can be difficult for an interviewer to gauge whether a prospective employee actually has the ability to perform a particular job. Okay? But most important, interpersonal skills could simply make a conversation with the interviewer more personal. Now, how do we go about doing that? Well, be friendly. Be empathetic. Show understanding and enthusiasm. Then look for opportunities in the conversation to actually drill down and demonstrate that care model that we spoke about. Credibility, ability, reliability, and empathy. Yeah. Now, during the interview itself, what we would like to do is focus on a number of things. And one of the things that we want to do is we want to look at, do we understand the company? So how much of time do you spend researching the industry and company? The reason we want to do this is because think about friendships. Think about how we connect with people. We only connect with people once we get to know them. And you need to demonstrate this in the interview. If you don't take time to research the company, how do you show that you can connect, that you're interested in the job and in the organization? You see, people want to know that you've taken time to know me as a person. But very similar in a job interview, we want to know that you've taken time to understand the company you want to join, because this is where you're going to spend most of your time. Don't negate that first impressions count. You know, we always say first impressions are lasting impressions. But what about first impressions? How do I form a first impression? You see, your first impression is not at the point at which you open your mouth. The first impression is at the point where people get to see you. So how you dress, how you come across, how you present yourself, how we extend our hands for a handshake, how about our body language, how we smile at our shoulders. Ever noticed a boxer in a boxing ring when he approaches his opponent? What he does is he lifts his shoulders and brings his hands up. Now those are body language signals. Shows that I'm defending myself and I'm ready for a fight. When you go for an interview, you don't want to go into a fight. All you want to do is you want to drop your shoulders. Expose yourself to show friendly demeanor and approachability. Think about, do you know the interviewer's name? Do you take time during the handshake to remember the name and the pronunciation, even the spelling? Because our names form our identity. And when you take time to understand people's names and call them by their name, you form connection. Okay. How about the general tone of the interview? During the interview, you want to ensure that the tone is helpful, that the tone is friendly. And what you want to demonstrate is that you can contribute. You want to show how you can contribute and minimize any barriers to communication up front. You see, effective communication, and when we think about it, is all about forming relationships. Forming relationships so that we can be effective, so that other people can buy into us and that we can buy into them. Thank you for taking the time for watching part 2 of the Interpersonal Skills series. We look forward to seeing you on our next series, which talks about communication.